We're here at the Anderson, Rabin, and Wakeman show in Los Angeles. And take a look inside the Wakeman's keyboard rig.
Welcome to my world.
I am David Bryce with Keyboard Magazine. We're here with the incredibly talented and very tall Rick Wakeman.
And the check's just cleared that I've given him, which is wonderful.
Thank you very kindly for getting that done.
And basically, this is the rig that I use. Basically, how it works is I always have this configuration. I've had this configuration now for about 15 years. But what we do is, according to whatever show it is, or whether it's one of my shows or a Yes show or another band show, we select the instruments that we're going to use from our collection at the store. So we look at the music we're going to play, and we look at what is going to be most ideal for us to use sound-wise, what to create, and also lengths of keyboards and touches, because the touch is very important depending on what you're actually doing. So there are a few instruments that will always remain, that will always be there. The Minimoogs to either side. I have 9 of them because they basically, they need quite a bit of love. We've got a wonderful guy called Tim Warhead in South London who works very hard at keeping them all afloat for me. We've got 4 out here on the road, and we are, after 10 weeks, down to the last 2. So when they get back, they'll go off to be serviced, and then they'll be rotated with the next lot. But they do remarkably well, considering they were never ever meant to be thrown around on big tours in cases. I mean, Bob Moog, who was one of my dearest friends, was always amazed that they survived like they did. So they remain static. The Kronos, which I love, we've got 2. I think they're just an amazing instrument.
Replace the O1Ws you've had for a while.
Yeah, I mean, although amazing enough, the O1W Pro X, I still use a lot because it's got some sounds on it which all developed from the original, from the M1 and then the T1 and various things. It's got some sounds that really are still very unique to that instrument. You know, so we do drag it out occasionally, but not very often. But the Kronoses we love. I mean, it's just, they do everything that it says on the tin plus more, so we're really pleased with those. The V-Synths down here, what a great tool. We always look for things that can do things that other instruments can't do. We try not to replicate. It's very easy to stick a whole load of a very similar make or a very similar thing. But then all you're doing is sort of replicating all the time. So we always look for different things and different sounds of things that we want to do. And this is, I think, an instrument. A lot of people, it sort of missed the net a bit with a lot of people. A lot of people didn't realise what it was and what they could do with it.
I think they thought it was a keyboard instrument. Certainly and it's not. It's really a sound mangling device that happens to have keys that you can use to trigger.
We rarely use it as a standalone. But we've re-edited a lot of the sounds and the things to use with other re-edited sounds and things that we play around with. And it's one of those things that we find sometimes when we've got a sound, we'll find a sound on here that on its own, I think Eric down there would agree with, it could sound pretty horrible. You go, that's a pretty horrible sound. But you put it with something that's a pure sound, and you end up with something really quite unusual. So we like that a lot, so we play around with that a lot. The Montage is a fairly new addition. In fact, it's a very new addition. A tray for I met one of the guys from Yamaha came around. He said, "You've got to try the Montage." And we've got the Montage and also the rack, which is the motif. The rack is brilliant. Mm-hmm. It is again. It's got some great sounds on it that you won't find anywhere else that we play around with, and works extremely well. And it is completely different from the Montage. Mm-hmm. It's I've had to get used to a few things, with settings and various things, because it won't talk to the Psychologic. So but we found a way. Well, Eric's taught me how to deal with it to make life as easy as possible.
New machines are getting so like less dependent on MIDI and more upon USB, I think.
I know, and I think, you know, it's one of the things that annoys me sometimes about all companies, that when they get something new, they look upon it as a replacement, not as an addition. And they should learn really that, you know, it's an addition. It's like with the comeback of vinyl, because we read CDs and that, it's an alternative. iPods, alternative. Downloading, alternative. It's not a replacement. And the word replacement really is a little bit of an error. But this is a great machine. We love the Montage a lot. Another Kronos series, which we absolutely adore. The Phantom, what a great machine. I love the Phantom. We've got 3 different keyboard lengths to do it so, depending on what we take out. I like it a lot. It's well designed. It's again, does everything it says on the tin. And we're very fond of our Phantoms. I think they're a good machine. Very, very good machine. I think both the Kronos and the Phantom in particular, perhaps all of them really to some extent, there are keyboard players as well as keyboard technicians that have had their input and things into them, which helps, you know, because they went through that era of certain keyboards where, unless you were a rocket scientist, you know, it was just an absolute nightmare for people like me. I just want to play. The Hammond, the SK, absolutely can't believe that machine. It was crews hate carting around Hammonds. I've still got all my original Hammonds.
How many of those?
I've got 2 C3s split, one which I call my roundabout Hammond, which is what I did, fragile and roundabout, that kind of thing on it, and then the other one which I call my close to the edge Hammond, which is an American C3, which has been modified a little bit by a guy called Greg Hockman, who used to work for Bob Moog, who put a phasing unit in it, which was great, because you could almost, if you mixed it in with the vibrato switches, you could actually almost simulate a sort of Leslie quite good. It was quite interesting. It worked really, really well. I've got both those, but they just weigh a ton to take out. And I've got an M100, M102 and an L100, and a couple of home Hammonds and things as well, all in need of servicing, which we're going to get done. There's a great guy that my son Adam knows in a place called St Albans near us, who specialises in services, so they're all going to go off there to be done. But this, I was told about this from the who was it who told me? Oh, the drummer from Strawls, who also drums for me, Tony Fernandez. He went on the cruise to the edge thing or whatever it was, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was in Procol Harum. They had one of these, and Tony said, "You've got to check out it. It is so good." Well, so many people have tried, not come close. I was so impressed with this. We got this in time to do the new King Arthur album, and what's interesting, the original King Arthur album didn't really have any Hammond on it at all, hardly, if any. But we put a load on the new because it was just so good, and it works really well. Again, the only slight problem is it doesn't talk to my lovely Psychologic, which I love to bits.
Doesn't, when you say talk to you, it's just talking like program changes?
Yeah, won't take it.
Interesting. LSB, MSB things,
It's,
probably.
Oh, well, actually, that's not strictly true. It takes some of the changes, but for example, on the others where we've done, because different keys where we've done transpose changes, it won't take. It will change some of it, but it won't do my transposition. So
Sure.
I have to remember to do all the
NRPNs.
Yeah.
I follow. Some people make it common, and some people have their own language.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So, but it basically, I'm so impressed with that. We love that to bits. One of my absolute loves, and it's tragic that they're coming to the end of their life, which is the JD800. I love the JD800 from the first time I ever got one, because it's one you can play with while you're playing, and an old school like me is great. But as you probably well know, they all eventually suffered from something that I've been told is red glue, which obviously nobody knew at the time.
Yeah.
We've got 2 of them, and basically at the moment we can only use them for to be MIDI'd from, because they have huge. They have ridiculous problems. This one, certain notes you play, decide to play other notes as well, which is.
That's not just a key bus thing.
No,
It's
so,
Yeah, I got it.
but if you do that, it's only with that combination. Not if,
That's freaky.
a different inversion of that. Won't do it.
A different inversion.
yeah, look.
Yeah. I got rid of mine to get the rack. Because the rack has that extra filter too. It has and it has
Yeah.
better architecture, but then you don't. It's
I mean, I'd like to get hold of a rack actually. I really would like.
the
to
990 is it's great. And as I said, there's this
Yeah.
whole other filter and whole other architecture in there
Yeah.
that takes it up to the
Keep
next
your eye out
level.
on eBay for us, will you? Because is it the 999?
JD 990. That's the one.
990.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep an eye out for us,
Fabulous.
Gary. It was
350,
Eric-
$400, you'll be fine.
It was Eric who found us another psychological rely. Just what we found, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But there is a keyboard which we've got coming, indeed, haven't we?
Oh yes.
That is that will do what this does.
The
System 8?
The X8, the JDX8.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
So we've got
Not a System 8. No.
So we've got those coming, and these will just end up as they'll probably end up in the studio to be used MIDI wise of various things. But it's got a nice keyboard. I used to do a lot of solo stuff on them because there was a certain nice keyboard sound, and it was different the feel for the Minimoogs. So always have the two in close proximity, so I could play good, and they work really well. So I really enjoyed that. And this little baby, the Memotron, got two of those. I just love them to bits. I mean, after the ceremonial burning of my old Memotrons, when I just finally had enough. Although we still have all the tapes, don't we? Some?
Did you actually burn them?
One I did, yeah. It was a big bonfire, Guy Fawkes night in England. It was just a nightmare. There was just a nightmare to keep on the road. I'd walk on stage, there'd be tapes floating around all over the floor. Although we still have probably got about a dozen tape racks up now of the original racks for the Memotrons. Still got all of those.
There is someone said at one point in time during Tales, you actually had tapes of Yes vocals that you had inside the Memotrons?
There weren't Yes vocals, they were vocals. I did, because the original Memotron you could only get sort of brass strings and flutes. And I made, with different sounds, about another 20 or 30 different sounds. I had choirs, I had different instruments come in and things. I've still got all the racks or all of those somewhere. But there's been some Memotrons, there's been some sample stuff done. I've never been really that impressed. And then I was introduced to this little German fellow, the Memotron, and my dear friend Eric there, Mr. Skeptical, when it first arrived, went, "Ooh." And then I came into the studio and went, very impressed. And we are impressed with them, Eric.
Is it just doing the one set of tapes that's
Aren't
in
we?
there?
Yeah.
So it's because I've just gotten a 4000D recently, the one from Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's got 24-bit samples all the way out for each key, and there's
Well,
new tapes and old
Eric
tapes.
Eric will explain. We've got everything on this, haven't we? Really?
He did. He took us on a little bit of a tour of it.
To a tour, great. I mean, I love it to bits, and it's reliable. And the truth of the matter is, coming from the late 60s and early 70s, when nothing was reliable, if you finished a show with 50% of stuff working, was absolutely remarkable. As things have changed, what you need now with shows getting so complex, and what we have to play and what we have to do, reliability plays a massive part. So the instruments that were always your worry, which was the Mellotron and the Minis used to be, but we've got the Minis, we've run away, and Eric talks to them a lot, make sure that they know that they're loved, things, but then when I always miss the Mellotron sound. It was great, especially because you can have it on its own, you can mix it in with stuff and it works really, really well. But until this came along, although having said that, there was a pretty decent string Mellotron sound on the Promega, the Gem Promega. And if anybody out there knows where I can get my Promegas serviced and brought back to working, I will be very, very grateful.
Ken Rich, maybe.
Along with my Valdesta electric grand piano, which I think is a power supply, but it's not very happy.
Brother Jack Hotop said to when I got a chance to talk to you, to ask you about a soprano voice that you had done for this.
Yeah, that was. They might be using it actually, because what they did, and a couple of other companies. There was a company called G Media who did a lot of samples of various things, and they took a lot of mine tapes and things to make from. So it's very possible that that's where that came, because I know that they dealt with them to get a lot of their samples, because I'm pretty certain a lot of those in there would have been my originals, the original tapes.
The question that the people in my forum who knew that I was coming to see you, a couple of them who you've met on the road in the meet and greets, the one question that was overwhelming was how you approached the Tony K parts. You know, did you try and duplicate his sounds? Or did you just go in and say, "Here's this song, and I'm going to play what comes to me"?
He basically played all of them.
Right.
So it was
some hits.
It wasn't difficult. I mean, I basically what hello, my friend. How are you feeling? Oh, I'll see you in a sec. The basically work on the. I've always worked on the principle. Yeah, if there's a theme or a tune that's going to be played, people want to hear it. But I work on the principle. So we've worked with this show. Is obviously there's a lot of songs that Trevor wasn't on, a lot of songs that originally I wasn't on. We imagine, okay, we'll play the parts that are necessary, but you imagine you were in the band at the time, what I played, and that's what we do. So I play all my own stuff. And but if there's a certain theme that needs to be heard, then you play it.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm not into I don't see the point. But the thing was with Tony was basically played the organ. I came in 71, I joined the band, so it only really affected the Yes album and Tiny, which were all Hammond, really. It was all Hammond.
There really isn't anything else on Yes album, is there?
No, it's all Hammond.
Huh?
So it wasn't difficult to to sort of go, well, I'll do what I want, really. So that's never worried me. The same as Trevor with he doesn't, he does the parts that are important that Steve played, but the rest of it he does what he would have done if he was in the band, and it makes it does really work. Pieces don't lose anything, they just add an awful lot more, which is great.
Simply cannot wait. I've been out of my way not to see any of the tapes of the shows or any tapes.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying tapes, you want to talk about another
I
one?
know. But very quickly, just down here.
Sure, thanks.
That little baby I've had for God knows how many years, and it's just got some great useful little sounds that we use.
Talking about the Triton one, not the DR.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the X5DR.
Oh, you are talking about the DR.
Yeah, well, I love that to bits. Got to get another one. They're very old now. Triton rack does a job. Again, it's got slightly different sounds and things for obviously being stepped back from the Kronos and things like that, so it does a good job. The motif we love to bits. What else we got down there, Eric?
The XR.
Oh, the XR.
Phantom XR.
Phantom XR, which that works a treat.
So just doing duplication for this, or is this all?
It is a case. It's almost like a backup of that one where we could be like, oh, I like this sound, but I also need that keyboard to do something else. So we can then take that sound and have it coming out there instead. It's like having two of them.
Is there a redundancy set up from there? A lot of people have it just in case something goes down.
No.
I didn't ask that question.
No.
There are a million things that could go wrong.
Toilet paper, really. That's what it's
And if
called.
any one thing goes, it's potentially show-stopping.
Yeah, we don't talk.
Yeah.
I didn't say, but I did not ask that question.
This
Scrub,
this
KB.
desk, even though I do not fully understand how it works, is just phenomenal. It is like having another instrument, because being able to save everything that each keyboard does for me, as for balancing volumes and doing things and echo and all the things that I want. This is just great, because it was always a problem with old desks of you get a sort of setting, but on another piece you might want it that bit louder. You're forever turning around. And,
So do the
and
patch
doing that.
changes include scene changes
Scenes from
on
this,
the
right?
mixer as well?
Now,
Yeah.
is it automated or is it just scene per song? Do you have like real-time changes in the songs as well?
No, because we're not going to click tracks or anything like that.
Right, of course. So once the song is up, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
you're,
Yeah, this-
you're going to do
this-
cinema and
You know,
Yeah, there's no-
EQ, all the gain structures,
And-
all the effects are changing, all the
effects
routing.
are on board
routing,
too.
yep.
We're old
routing
school. We're
changes.
called a live band. No click tracks. That was one of the things that Trevor and I we said, no, not interested. You know, don't want to know. We play. But this I absolutely love. And the EVs, which I've got this year, it's so important for monitoring to hear a sound that the sound you want to hear. We tried quite a few different sort of speaker systems and things out, and then these came up to our store, our rehearsal place that we have in England, and I came in and I literally played for 30 seconds and went, they're the ones, and they've been very reliable and very good. And again, apart from sound, reliability is very important. So I'm very happy with this. This is undoubtedly the best rig I ever had, and I'm not saying because he's here, but so much of it's down to Eric because it takes a lot of pride in, you know, in we have fresh cabling, everything is thought out to eliminate, you know, as problems before they happen, and that's really important.
MIDI kill, the help switch.
That lights up, and over there for Eric.
I need I need you.
Yeah.
If I have a serious rather than turn around and go, oh
Fuck
you know,
it.
it's, you know,
I mean, there might be sometimes during a show where if Rick goes off piece and starts changing sounds intentionally, I might be thinking, hang on, what's going on? And so I would come running out going, is everything okay? And Rick would go, well, of course everything's fine. So by having the pedal, I now know if the pedal goes down.
it's more used. I mean, for example, when we were at the
get out.
O2, because Eric was miles away, you know, because I couldn't catch his eye or
Yeah.
something. But Eric normally susses it because you can hear the sound. Something's gone a little bit astray. There's been a funny spark somewhere. But certainly when we're in places where he's quite a long way away, you know, I can hit that. And but it's rare, isn't it?
Mm. Well, I mean, we haven't used it.
It's
we haven't
rare.
used it on this
I
tour
mean, we
yet.
have one agreement, though, that I won't do that. And then when it comes up, I go, can I have a cup of tea?
I've also noticed that you've got no control other than I'm guessing these look like they are just acting as sustain.
They are sustained.
So there's no modulation, no patch change, no nothing. All the patch change is handled
Yep,
here.
absolutely.
Any mod is either an aftertouch or on the wheels or anything. Real time old school.
And any change that I make while I'm playing and things. That's what I do.
Fabulous.
That's how it works, and it works. It works for me. I feel it's very important. Whatever you do, you're comfortable. And I mean, the major problem, which Eric finds quite hilarious, is obviously when you're doing pieces. Sometimes if you haven't played it for a while, this is a different setup to the one I had when I did the last Yes tour when we finished in 2005. So for the first days of rehearsals and for the first shows, I could often find myself standing in the position that I stood in 2005, and it's a completely different sound because you've moved everything around. So I might be going, piano? No, it's not. It's over here now. And so there would be quite which kept Eric amused on times. But that's one of the because it's amazing what comes out of the old filing cabinet of what you did before. So you have to ditch all of that and get used to your new routing. And that's half the battle, isn't it, really?
And a manner that still lets you be comfortable and be musical without having to
Yeah,
be in that,
I mean,
plug into that digital
I'm
world.
very happy. There isn't one move that I have to do for place that that I feel. God, no, I wish I could find another way of doing it. It all works without a panic. So it's mind you, show it should be done. Is it 27 shows? Is it 20? So 29, is it?
think so, yeah.
About 29. We don't, so which is like 30 shows in. So if I haven't got it bloody right now, I probably never will do.
Excellent.
Great.
We want to let you guys know that this gentleman over here that we've been speaking with is Eric Jordan. That is kind enough to take us through the rig and just get us some of the fine points of this. And we want to thank Dr. Wakeman for taking the time.
Doctor, I'm not a doctor.
You should be.
I'm a professor actually, but for what it's worth, I never use it. There you go.
We're looking forward to seeing the show. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Brian May's a great friend of mine. He's a doctor, and he's doctor of astrophysics. But he said he still gets the odd people who come out and they see he's known as Dr. Brian May, and they go, "Can you have a look at my leg?" And I said, "You don't know, if you're a professor, you don't have that problem, because nobody ever comes up to, because professor, nobody really quite knows what it means anymore." But there you go.
Give me some help with their homework.